Welcome into our Locked On NFL Insider Report. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Our Locked On NFL Insider, Isaiah Stanback, is back once again. We're going to break down this AFC championship game is what we're going to start with. The Chiefs with an absolute thriller over the Bills last week in overtime. We talked about that for quite a while last week, and now they're going to take that momentum into hosting the AFC Championship game against Cincinnati Bengals. Everybody loves that Joe Burrow story and what they've been able to do this year, but obviously the Chiefs are a whole different animal, beast, whatever you want to call them, when it comes to playoff time. So is this another Super Bowl run we're seeing out of the Chiefs right now, Isaiah?
I'm going to have to say so, Kay. If you go back into the old school timetable, go look on the old tablet, I think I was on the record for saying that Kansas City was going to be in this position and possibly, obviously booking their ticket to the Super Bowl. They have to go through the Cincinnati Bengals to do so. They had a heck of a showdown last week, and I think that was everybody's Super Bowl before the Super Bowl against Buffalo, going into overtime. Patrick Mahomes finding his way down the field with 13 seconds left, finding Travis Kelce in the corner of the end zone to send his team to the AFC Championship game. Their fourth straight AFC Championship game that they're going to be hosting, which is completely ridiculous. Should they get past Cincinnati Bengals, this will be the third straight Super Bowl appearance for the Kansas City Chiefs. These guys are absolutely loaded. Everybody knows what this team is capable of. We've heard their names for the last 3-4 years. But they have a formidable opponent in the Cincinnati Bengals. And obviously young Joe Burrow and his guy Jamar Chase. Those guys are taking care of business. Those guys are coming off a big win against the Tennessee Titans, in which they etched them out 19-16. And Joe Burrow had 348 yards passing, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns, and they still found a way to get victory. If Cincinnati is going to have any chance, though, of winning this ball game, they have to find a way to protect Joe Burrow, keep Chris Jones, keep Melvin Ingram off of this guy, because they gave up 9 sacks against the Tennessee Titans. That is something they cannot expect to do again and come out victorious.
You mentioned Joe Burrow. Obviously, he's done some impressive things, only being in the league a couple years now. But what does it say when he can play big in a playoff game like we've seen so far? Obviously, we've seen him do it in college, but he's been able to translate it to the NFL playoffs, which is not something many players can do this early on in their career.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's a testament to how hard he worked. Obviously, coming off his rookie season last year, coming off the knee injury, having to overcome that, having to overcome being on an organization that's really in the rebuilding phase. For them to be in this position this quickly after being the number 1 pick, that is pretty outstanding. And it's just a testament to how great of a job he's done, how much work he's put in. This team is still young. This team still has a lot of holes that they have to fill, and obviously they have the young talent in Burrow and obviously Jamar Chase, and they have a young savvy veteran in Joe Mixon at the running back position. But other than that, offensively, these guys are still missing a lot of holes. And again, I mentioned the offensive line presence. They're going to have to play big. They really have to play big if these guys want to have any shot of overtaking this Kansas City team.
It's going to take a lot for the Bengals to go in there and get a win on the road, but if anything, they don't know what they don't know because they're a young team. So maybe that will benefit them. But what's the game plan going to have to be for Cincy? Obviously, keeping Joe Burrow upright is crucial to letting him, make plays. But what would be something they could try to exploit for Kansas City if they want to get a win?
Yeah, well, I think everybody's game plan whenever you play against the Kansas City Chiefs is try your best to keep them off the field. And that means that you have to sustain drives. That means you're going to have to try to have some form of a running game. And again, with those offensive line worries that they have, I'm not sure of how successful they're going to be, but that's going to be the game plan. Step up there, try to protect Burrow, keep him upright, give him the ability to go ahead and complete, passes like he did against Kansas City last time they beat them in Week 17 when they beat them 34-31. He was 30 for 39 with 446 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He was sacked 4 times. However, Jamar Chase had 11 receptions, 266 yards, and 3 touchdowns. If they plan on beating the Kansas City Chiefs, the high-powered Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to need to have a showing much like they did in Week 17 against Kansas City.
So Kansas City on paper obviously looks like a favorite. They've been there before. They've done it before. Mahomes is incredible when he is out there, but they did have some struggles throughout the regular season with consistency. Is that totally behind them at this point, or is that something that could pop back up when you have such an intense game the week before?
Yeah, I think that they're going to be perfectly fine. I mean, again, I think they come from a position of confidence. This isn't something that's new to them. You know, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, they haven't been in this position. I don't think there's anybody on their roster who's been at this position at any time in the past history. Versus Kansas City, this is what they do. They understood early in the season that they had struggles. They started off 4-4, and everybody was like, "Oh no, is this not the Kansas City team of the past?" And the reality was, they just had to get used to each other. Patrick Mahomes was playing with a brand new offensive line, 5 new offensive linemen, not just a few guys that are implanted in there. He had 5 brand new offensive linemen, and they had to get used to each other. And now we see the benefits of that. These guys are now playing in continuity. They're blocking, they're protecting. He's not turning the ball over nor forcing the balls that he was doing earlier. Obviously Eric Bieniemy is doing a great job of getting his playmakers the ball in their hands. These guys are rolling, and this is the Kansas City team that we're used to seeing, the most dangerous version of that, because these guys again have experience under their belt and they're healthy.
I think I know which way you're leaning, but who do you think is going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this year?
I'm going to have to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I've been rocking with them all year long, and I believe that these guys are just too powerful, too strong, and too experienced to drop this game.
All right, mark it down. We'll mark it down from a couple weeks back because I know you called this a while ago, so I'll give it to you. This has
No
been another
worries.
edition of Locked On NFL Insider. He's Isaiah. I'm Kainani. Thank you for joining us on Locked On NFL.